I'm going to ask one question, then we'll open up to questions. And we'll start with our 57-kilogram Daniel Dennis. Daniel, and people heard about that you took a little break from wrestling and came back. And I was curious if you could talk about what aspects of your wrestling have really improved and made a difference since you've come back 2 years ago and made your Olympic run.
I think the break that I had really was a mental break more than anything. A physical break a little bit, leaving and taking that time off, I really think helped me become healthy again physically and get more motivated and ready to make a run at where I'm at today. So, short answer, but that's kind of where I'm at.
To his right is Frank Molinaro. Frank gave me the good news yesterday about the birth of his son, Frank. So I'll remember that name. But I'd really like to ask Frank a little bit along the line about the importance of family to you and also to anyone that makes the quest to become an Olympic champion.
I think the biggest thing is the sacrifice my family's made. My wife quit her job and moved out to Penn State when I decided I wanted to wrestle again. So she gave up her career for my dreams, and and just the sacrifice she's making now. 2 kids at home, and my family's always put me in a position to win. I switched high schools when I was a sophomore because we moved into a summer house so I can be in a better environment for wrestling and better environment to thrive. So my parents have always sacrificed all they could to put me in a position to win and take me to wrestling camps and everything. And my wife does it now, and I'm just very grateful to have that support system.
To his right is Jordan Burroughs. Jordan, my question is, you mentioned that in London you were a rookie, but now as a second-time Olympian and a champion the last time you were a veteran. Could you tell me what's been different in the Rio Games or the Rio preparation in comparison to when you came here and competed in London?
Absolutely. I think the approach has remained the same. For me, this is always going to be a significant event. Being the Olympic Games, it's only every 4 years. There's a lot of notoriety worldwide, and I think people understand that this is the most important tournament and the pinnacle for wrestlers to bring home an Olympic gold medal. And so the significance remains the same, but the circumstances change. Ever since 2012, I've become a family man. I've won a few more titles. I've put myself in a position of prominence within our sport. And so I guess you could say I'm a veteran, but I'm excited to treat this Games as if it's my first time here.
To his right is Jaden Cox. Jaden, in March you were in New York City in Madison Square Garden, won a second NCAA wrestling title, and then have had an amazing Olympic journey since then. Could you talk a little bit about how much you feel you've improved in just the short months since you won that NCAA title in folk style and then jumped right into the freestyle circuit?
Well, I can tell you I've improved loads. And big testament is the guys right here at this table, just giving me insight and knowledge not only on wrestling but how things are carried out and how you have to carry yourself and how things need to work out. On the mat, it's come through coaching, through Bruce Burnett and Coach Zach, and they've helped me out tons. I don't pretend that I know everything about this style of wrestling, but I do know how to wrestle, and I know how to go hard, and I know that I'll give everything I got. And with those things, I think, combined with the great coaching and the leadership that I have in front of me, I can do great things.
So would you say you've built confidence in the last few months as you've gone out and beaten foreign athletes and attempted to wrestle well in some of these big events like World Cup, etc.?
Build confidence, yes, but at the same time, I think it's also, I have confidence in my wrestling not only because of who I beat. I have confidence in my wrestling because I love what I do. I have confidence in my wrestling because I love who I am out there on the mat. So it's not about whose name or whose ranking I'm overcoming. It's about me enjoying what I do and being blessed with the ability I have.
Thank you. To his right is Kyle Snyder, 97 kilo. Kyle, a year ago at the World Championships, you won a gold medal, youngest American champion in freestyle wrestling, and was curious if you could explain how going through the process of doing that is going to help you against a very difficult, challenging field here in Rio?
Yeah, I mean, wrestling in the Worlds last year, I was able to wrestle some of the same opponents that I'll be competing against this Olympic Games. So it's obviously, it's good being able to wrestle them and get a feel for them. And then, winning the Worlds gave me more confidence in my wrestling than I previously had. Just a little bit more swagger to my step when I'm on the mat because of that accomplishment. And then, this winter and this spring and even this summer, being able to go overseas and wrestling some of my top competitors has allowed me to grow as a wrestler and feel good about my preparation and competing on August 21st.
On the far right is Tervel Dlagnev, wrestles 125 kilos. Tervel, you competed in London, and you're in the heavyweight division, which is always challenging, always has new athletes. Talk a little bit about some of the challenges and triumphs you've had in maintaining your top position here in the United States and earning a second shot at the Olympic gold.
Yeah, I mean, in London, and since then, it's been 4 or 5 years, and so I've wrestled all the guys. We've all kind of have wins and losses over each other, and so it's kind of been the same group of guys, mix in 1 or 2 new guys, so kind of just keep wrestling these guys. It becomes, how you can, figure out a way to get one over on them, something different, something more creative, so it kind of makes it exciting, but also, you try to not make it monotonous because, again, you're preparing for the same people, and you just try to do what you can, try to keep getting better.
To the far right is our national freestyle coach, Bruce Burnett. Bruce coached our teams during a really strong era of American wrestling. He was our head coach for the '96 Olympics in Atlanta and to 2000 in Sydney, and went to coach college for a while and has come back to help USA Wrestling in this quad. And we'd just like to ask Bruce to talk about this group of athletes and what it's been like for him to come back and help lead the American team into the Olympics.
Well, it's always exciting, first of all, to represent your country, and always exciting to have the opportunity to coach elite athletes and help them reach their dreams. I mean, they spend a long time trying to get to where they are, and I can promise you as a coaching staff, we don't want to mess that up. And so we try to match their intensity and their passion and their work ethic and try to help them to the very best of their abilities. And so the coaching staff that we have is very good. They're experienced. All these guys, individual coaches are, as a matter of fact, I think I coached 5 of the guys' coaches in the past. So it's always an exciting thing, and it was an adventure for me to have the opportunity to come back. And I will say an adventure for my wife as well.
We'll open up for a couple of questions. Up here in the front.
Yeah, hey, this is Childs Walker with the Baltimore Sun. This is a kind of a 2-part question. First for Kyle, you're kind of the young guy on the team, so what's stood out to you so far about just your first Olympic experience, and then also for Tervel, I know you're close to Kyle. I mean, in your mind, what's allowed him to be as good as he is, as young as he is?
Well, being on the world team last year, I'm pretty familiar with the guys on this team, and I've spent a lot of time with them at training camps and spent a lot of time with Coach Burnett as well. And definitely the Olympics are a lot different than the Worlds. I think there's a little more sense of feeling that it's not just you. You got 500 or so athletes representing the United States that you get to interact with and see in the village, other countries as well, which you don't really see in the World Championships. So it's been a lot of fun. The training's been similar. The way that I'm preparing mentally to compete has been very similar, but the overall atmosphere and the event is definitely a little different. You can tell that there's a little more hype around the Olympics.
Yeah, I think what, the biggest difference I see in Kyle that separates him, at such a young age to be able to do the things he's done is just what he expects out of himself. And, he's very honest with where he is in any given moment. And he also he knows where he wants to be. He charts out the road, and he pushes himself in a lot of different ways, not just physically. And he always tries to, figure out the problem. He's a problem solver, and kind of in all areas of his training. And so that's one thing that is kind of refreshing to see, and that I think gives him success, is that he's very honest, but he's not afraid. He's not afraid of bad things happening. He just tries to figure out how to not let it happen.
Frank, Steve Politti from the Star Ledger and NJ.com. Baby details, birth, weight. Did you watch it on FaceTime, and can you give us a little bit more?
Yeah, it was 3 weeks early, 7 pounds, 4 ounces, real healthy baby. This was actually a lot easier, this birth. It was only about 5 minutes. She got to the hospital, everything was really smooth. Yeah, and she's leaving today at noon and going home, and yeah, everything went really good.
This is for Jordan, Bruce Beck, WNBC TV. Jordan, they say it's tougher to retain than attain. Can you talk about the challenges that you faced and you are facing here trying to win a second gold?
Well, I think this particular opportunity for me presents itself where I've recognized the position that I'm in to not only defend, but to really cement my legacy as one of the best American wrestlers of all time. But also, I think that there's a medal, and then there's me. And so no one's particularly chasing me. If you want to win, you've got to beat a lot more than just one particular person in the bracket. And so I think everyone understands that, and I understand that as well. And so we're all pursuing the top of the podium and not each other. And so regardless of how that path plays out and who's in line that you'll have to beat at some point throughout the tournament, whether it's 4 or 5 matches, I think everyone wants to win the gold. And so for me, it's more about making it about being the first time, the pursuit, the journey, and just enjoying it, having a different perspective. Like, I don't want to feel like I have anything to defend. That brings in fear and anxiety and nervousness. But I think when you have a refreshed perspective and a newfound purpose within each obstacle, it gives you a sense of just a renewed spirit and excitement. I want to be excited about this opportunity and not nervous about it.
In the back.
Yeah, Jordan, similar to what Bruce asked, but slightly different. It's Rick Haas from AP Television.
What's up, my man?
Hey, all right, I'm doing all right. How about you?
I'm well, thank you.
Good. You said in your opening statement you want to approach this Olympics like it's your first.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I kind of want you to elaborate on that a little bit, because that's a very tall order when you come in as a defending gold medal champion. I mean, it can't really be like your first, and you're the guy with the target on your back. So how different is this than going into London?
It's different, very different. I was a young man then. My life has changed drastically. I think that the recognition I've received this Olympic Games has been huge in comparison to 2012. I've garnered a number of sponsors. I've been on the Today Show before I even competed this morning. And so there's always a magnitude of things that approach you because of your success. But for me, it's always been about winning. Winning's more important than the fame. And so my perspective as a young man was, if you win enough, you can't be ignored. And so now that I've arrived at this place of high notoriety and recognition, people asking for pictures and gaining sponsors, now I'm like, all right, well, how did I get here? How do you maintain that focus and that level of desire? And what makes it fun? Like, I don't want this to be obligatory at all. I want to enjoy this. I want this to be special. And so I try to have that perspective, although difficult. It's a constant battle every day, combating between my ego and my love for the sport. Obligation and just a pure sense of a cool opportunity to bring home another gold medal. And so I've seen people who haven't been able to repeat, I've seen people who have. And so I look at the trailblazers before me who have done it well and done it the way that I'd like to do it, and I try to replicate their mindset, their thought process, their physical attributes to try to retain what I've worked really hard for. In 2012, I came out and said, let's see what I can do. I know I'm good, I think I can beat these guys, I want to be an Olympic champion. The last 4 years for me have been strategic training, grooming, and placing myself in a position where this would run flawlessly. So we'll see. I never know what's going to happen, but I think that on August 19th, I can guarantee that I'll be as prepared and ready to go as possible. I can't guarantee that I win, but I know I'll be prepared.
So the trap is, if success can be taking something for granted, and that's the goal, not to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's so crazy because, like, I am who I am and who I've always been, but people recognize you more when you win. Like, I've been sponsored by Polo Ralph Lauren this last year, and I'm in ads throughout the entire country, and I'm not a model. And so, you know, the more you win, the more handsome you get, I guess. But no, it's cool. It's been a cool journey. It's been a really cool journey, and the perspective's different because now I have kids that'll be watching. My wife will be here. My family's coming down. Like, I want to be the living embodiment of what it takes to reach a high level of success. And so my family lives vicariously through me. I came from a working class family. My parents still work every day. Most of everything they make from their paychecks goes to paying bills. And so, in essence, they never go to Rio on their own. Now they're in Brazil, they're hanging out on the beach, they get to watch their son wrestle. Not only is their son competing in the Olympics, but he's a favorite. Like, that's cool stuff for everyone. It's so much broader than just me. Stepping on top of the podium and being presented with a gold medal is a great memory. And I'll love it and cherish it forever. But for what it brings to everyone who has a tangible piece of my life and that has helped pour into me throughout all the years, I think it's a little more important to them. And so I try to make this about everyone. This is going to be a cool journey and experience for anyone who's met me or ever cheered for me. And so I'm thankful for that. Memorable moments ahead, and hopefully a second goal.
Any other questions? In the back, you have a microphone? We'll take one more after that, and then we'll have the ability for one-on-ones.
Julian Williams, SNTV. Frank, this is a question for you. You've had a real roller coaster getting here. You didn't think you were going to make it to the Olympics, and then two competitors ahead of you got done for PEDs. Next thing you know, you're here. Your wife gets pregnant. You just had a baby. It's been a roller coaster of emotions for you. And the second part of my question is, on the PED side, your sport is under scrutiny, and this is a question for anybody up there. Do you guys worry about any of your opponents and what they're doing, and whether it might be illegal or anything like that, or do you just focus on what you need to focus on?
To answer your first question, it's been an extremely eventful year, busy year. 2015, I gave my life to Christ, so that's been really my main focus. It used to be just success, it used to just be winning, and I had a pretty good career before this year, and ever since 2015, God's been my number one focus, and a lot of things have happened in my life, so I think that's kind of where all that stems from, all this success that I'm having, and the way things are falling into place, and the way things continue to roll along for me. So I think that's kind of my number one focus right now. But it's been extremely exciting, and I've always been very clear on what I wanted, and I've always believed that I can beat anyone in the world, and I've always believed that any defeat, nothing's ever really held me back or convinced me that I wouldn't come back from it better. So I've always had that perspective as well, and I've always had a lot of support from my family, and it's just been a really exciting year as well. Coach Burnett has been traveling the world with me. He's been to Mongolia. He's been in all the different living conditions, and I've just been extremely grateful to become the person I am right now through that process, and through this Olympic journey, I'll continue to become the person I want to be, and I'm grateful for these trials, and I'm also extremely grateful for my family, and the birth thing was very unexpected. I thought she was due on the 28th, so I figured I'd be able to come home and watch that. So, you know, it was a little bit sad not being there to see the birth of my child, but at the same time, I was extremely happy and blessed that we had a healthy child and that everything worked out smoothly. So, you know, that was really good. As far as the PEDs, you know, I think that they have plenty of people in place to monitor that stuff, and you know, that's not something that we really worry about. That's not something that we can control. So, you know, we just try to focus on what we can control. We try to focus on, you know, listening to our coaches and being the best that we can be, and making sure that we're following all the guidelines and we're following all the protocols. So I think that, you know, we have people in place in USA Wrestling and people that, you know, really take care of everything for us. Everything's laid out for us. You know, we have the great facilities. We have a great situation here in Rio. We have great training partners. They've brought coaches out. We have everything that we possibly need to win. All we have to do is stay focused and, you know, keep our perspective and keep our priorities, be clear on what we want, and have a lot of gratitude for this opportunity. And I think that being around these guys and being around these teammates has made that extremely easy. Women's wrestling, everybody that's at Lonier, all the other athletes there, it's just a really good environment, and it's really making it easy to thrive and enjoy everything out here. So I'm just really excited about it.
One last question, if there is one. Seeing none, what I'd like to do is have Coach Burnett and I get down. We'll have a couple of the women athletes come up, and I might bring a few people to the side so that, you know, and if it gets a little too crowded here, we'll split people off. So I'm going to leave my chair and ask a couple of you ladies to take our spot.